Hello, my friends. I'm glad you are here. Take a slow breath. Let your shoulders rest. You do not need to hurry. For a little while, we will just sit with a quiet story. Now, here is a gentle question. Have you ever wondered about gold? We see gold so often today that it can feel normal. We see it in rings. We see it in small chains. We see it as something people save for later. But long ago, gold could change a life. It could move people across long distances. It could bring strangers together in trade. It could also bring hard work and unfairness. So tonight, let's follow gold, not as a lesson, just as a calm human story. Long ago, people lived close to the land. There were no tall buildings. There were no bright streets at night. There were no busy stores with glass windows. People lived near water when they could. Rivers helped them drink. Rivers helped them wash. Rivers brought fish. Rivers also brought people together. In those early days, most valuable things were useful. A sharp stone tool was valuable. A strong rope was valuable. A warm animal skin was valuable. Food was valuable most of all. And then, one day, someone near a river saw something different. The water was low. Stones were showing at the edge. The person stepped carefully because the rocks were slippery. In the shallow water, among plain stones, there was a small piece that looked like sunlight. It did not look like wood. It did not look like bone. It did not look like a normal rock. It was heavy for its size. It did not break like a dry stone. It stayed bright even after time in water. The person picked it up. It felt cool in the hand at first. Then it warmed slowly, just from the skin. They turned it in the light. They held it close to the face. They washed it again in the river, as if water could explain it. It did not feed them. It did not cut meat. It did not help make fire. And still, it felt important. In early communities, people watched nature carefully. They noticed small changes. They noticed new tracks in the mud. They noticed a new bird sound. They noticed when a river brought strange stones. So this bright piece was not forgotten. They showed it to others. A few people gathered. Someone touched it with a finger. Someone rubbed it on cloth. Someone smiled without speaking. Gold did not rust the way some other metals did. It stayed clean. It stayed bright. It looked the same after many days. So people began to use it in small ways. Not for work, not for survival, but for meaning. They made tiny pieces into simple shapes. A small bead on a string. A small piece tied into hair. A thin line around a wrist. It was not for everyone. Most people did not have it. Gold was rare, and finding it was not easy. In those days, most people lived with very few things: a pot, a tool, a blanket, a basket. That was enough. So a bright metal that did not break and did not fade became a strong sign. It could quietly say, "This person is respected." It could say, "This family has something extra." It could say, "This is for a special day." Over time, life changed. People stopped moving all the time. They planted food. They kept animals near home. They built stronger houses. They stored grain in jars. When people stored food, they could stay in one place longer. Small villages became larger. Larger villages became towns. In towns, people needed each other in new ways. A farmer grew grain. A potter made pots. A builder made walls. A guard watched the gate. And in towns, people traded more often. In a small moving group, Sharing is direct. If you hunt, you share. If you find berries, you share. You know the faces around you. But in a town, strangers appear. Travelers arrive. Traders come and go. You cannot know everyone. So people looked for something they could agree on without long talk. Gold fit that need. It was small, it was strong, it was rare, it could be carried. At first, gold moved slowly. A traveler might carry a small piece. A trader might bring it from a distant river. A gift might pass from one family to another. Then paths widened. People walked farther than before, sometimes for many days. A trader might leave at dawn while the air was still cool. An animal carried the load. The person carried water and a little food. At night they rested near a small fire close to the road. They wrapped a cloth around the shoulders. They listened for footsteps in the dark. In the morning they rose and kept walking. They followed rivers because water meant life. They followed coastlines because boats could move heavy goods. Some roads went through dry land where the sun felt hard on the back. Some roads went through hills where stones cut sandals. And slowly people began to act in the same careful way. A trader would open a bag and let others see what was inside. They would lift empty hands first to show they were not hiding a knife. They would speak with slow words or with signs and repeat them if needed. Then the scale would come out, not to rush the trade, but to calm it. One small weight at a time. One quiet look at a time. Along these routes, things moved with people. Salt, cloth, spices, tools, and small pieces of gold wrapped in cloth carried close to the body. In a town market, the ground is dusty. The sun is warm, but the shade under cloth roofs feels cool. You can smell cooked food somewhere nearby. You can hear light hammer sounds from a worker making simple tools. A trader sets down a sack of salt. A person from the town brings cloth. They do not share the same words well. They use hands and simple signs. On a low table, there is a small scale. There are little weights made of stone or metal. The trader places a small piece of gold on one side. The weights go on the other side, one by one. The scale tips. It becomes still. Both people watch quietly. No shouting, no rushing, just careful eyes. The trader nods once. The other person nods once. Then the trade happens. In that moment, gold becomes more than jewelry. It becomes a way to agree. It becomes a way to trade, even between strangers. As gold traveled, its meaning grew. It was still a gift. It was still for beauty. But it was also something people saved, something people used when times were hard, something people carried when they moved. Leaders noticed this. In every growing town, some people gained more control. They controlled stored grain. They controlled land. They controlled water. They controlled the guards at the gate. And when leaders saw gold, they saw a tool. There is a town with a gate. Outside the gate, travelers wait. Some are tired, some are hungry. Some want to sell goods, some want to enter for safety. Inside the gate, guards stand with weapons. They watch the road, they watch the crowd. Near the center of town, there is a strong building. Not everyone can go inside. Inside that building, there is a small, locked room. In that room, gold is weighed and counted. It is kept in a box. It is watched by trusted people. A leader can use that gold in many ways. He can pay guards. He can buy food from far away when the harvest is weak. He can reward people who support him. That makes his place stronger. And when a leader becomes stronger, more things change around him. More guards appear. More rules appear. More trade arrives at the gate. More people gather near the town. Through all of this, Gold keeps moving from hand to hand, quiet, small, and powerful. But there was another side. When something is valuable and rare, people fight for it. They take risks for it. They leave home for it. Gold was often found in difficult places, in riverbeds, in hard ground, in rocky hills, in dark tunnels. To get gold, people had to work hard. They dug into earth. They carried heavy loads. They worked for long hours. And the day could feel very long. At midday, the sun stood high. Sweat dried into salt on the skin. A worker sat on a stone and drank a little water. Someone shared a small piece of bread or grain cake. No one spoke much. Saving strength mattered. Then work began again. Hands reached into cold water. Hands scraped at hard ground. Feet slipped on wet stones. A small bright piece could appear, then disappear under sand again. In many places, the work was not fair. Some workers might have chosen this, hoping for a better life, but many did not choose it. A powerful group could control a mine. A leader could send people to dig. An army from another place could take land with gold and force the people there to work. So gold often created a bigger gap between rich and poor. In one place, a person wears gold at a feast. Lamps glow. Food is on the table. Music or singing may be in the air. In another place, a person stands in cold water all day, searching and searching. The hands are numb. The back hurts. The eyes stay on the stones. Gold could bring beauty. Gold could also build walls between people. This part of the story is harder. It is not always loud, but it is real. Gold brought long journeys, too. People left home to search for it. They crossed dry land where water was rare. They crossed mountains where nights were cold. They crossed wide water in boats, hoping the sea would stay calm. A person might sell a goat to buy supplies for the trip. A mother might tie a small charm to a child's neck for safety. A friend might say goodbye and never meet that face again. Some came back with wealth. Many came back with nothing. And places changed where gold was taken. A river could become muddy from digging. A forest could be cut down to make room for work. A quiet valley could fill with strangers and noise. Gold could bring trade and roads. Gold could also bring conflict. Still, time moved forward. People learned better ways to shape metal. Skilled hands could turn gold into fine work, a thin sheet, a smooth circle, a small stamped piece that many people used in trade. Gold entered more homes. Gold entered more markets. But even then, gold was not for everyone. Then the modern world arrived, and machines changed everything. Think of two scenes. In the first scene, a person stands by a river. They bend down. They lift stones. They let water run through their fingers. They search slowly because the river does not hurry. In the second scene, the sound is very different. A large machine digs into the ground. It pulls up earth and rock in big pieces. The ground is opened fast. Stones break and slide down. A truck takes the heavy loads away again and again. One person with a simple tool can only take a little, but a machine can take much more. It can work for many hours without stopping. Mines became huge. Work became faster. Gold could be taken in much larger amounts. And as more gold was taken, gold moved into new parts of daily life. It stayed in jewelry. It stayed in gifts. But it also moved into banks. In a quiet bank room, the floor is clean. The walls are plain. A person stands at a counter with paper in hand. Behind another door, in a place most people cannot enter, Gold is stored and guarded. The person at the counter does not touch gold. Still, the paper is trusted. People use it in trade. The paper is lighter than metal. It is easier to carry. It is easier to count. It can pass from hand to hand very quickly. So for many people, gold became something they trusted even when they could not see it. Later, machines and factories grew. People made many new things. They made small parts with careful work. Gold also found a place there. Very small amounts of gold can sit inside things we use every day. Inside a phone, inside a computer, inside small parts that help power move smoothly. Most people never see this gold. It stays hidden under plastic and glass, but it still matters because it helps these tools work in a steady way. And this is the strange difference. Long ago, someone stood in a cold river and found one bright piece by hand. Today, gold can move through factories and machines and end up inside something you hold in your palm. The gold is smaller now and quieter, but the long human story behind it is still there. And even today, gold still carries an old feeling for many people. It feels steady. It feels lasting. It feels like something that does not change quickly. When money feels confusing, some people look back to gold, not because they love metal, but because they want something that feels solid. Now, let's return to you, here, in the present. Next time you see gold, pause for one calm moment. Maybe it is a ring on someone's hand. Maybe it is a small necklace in a shop window. Maybe it is a gift box opened on a special day. Try to remember the long path behind it. Remember a river edge where someone found a bright piece among ordinary stones. Remember a travel night near a small fire with a pack animal resting close by. Remember a quiet market table with a small scale tipping and becoming still. Remember a worker in cold water, searching with tired hands. And now imagine something simple. Imagine gold resting in your hand, warm from your skin, quiet, heavy for its size. For a moment, you can picture the river again. Cold water, plain stones, one bright piece flashing in the light. Then you can picture the market table, a scale, small weights, two strangers watching carefully. Gold moves through these scenes over a very long time. It moves quietly, it keeps its color, and human life keeps changing around it. Thank you for listening with me. Take another slow breath, and carry this story with you in a quiet way as you move through your day. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.